Hey everybody! Look at this beautiful dahlia that's blooming right now, and it looks like I've got a couple more buds. Just want to show you real quick my little temporary garden. A couple things that are in bloom. The lilies are, of course, in full bloom. Aren't they beautiful? The color is so vibrant and amazing. Coming down this way, I have the dahlias. These are just in a mix that I bought at Home Depot, I believe. So I don't really know what kind they are, but that one looks pretty hardy. The stem is a lot darker, so way different than this beautiful white one right here. This one is pretty spectacular. I think this one is like your traditional dahlia that most people see in the garden. Then I've got a couple others that are still pushing its way out. That one looks like a shorter variety. You see the buds on there, but it's only like 6 inches, whereas this one's like 15 inches tall. There's this small, tiny one. Very beautiful. Here's another one over here that is blooming. Then I've got this dahlia over here. This one is lovely. It was the first bloomer, and it's literally blooming its head off. It's got all of these bud. And it was flopping, so I had to stake it a little bit, just a temporary, while I try to figure out how I want a more sturdier stake. Then I got this tiny little red one that's coming out, so it's looking good. Got my vegetable garden over here. This is the small temporary one that I have set up. It's closer to the camper and the building as opposed to the main garden area. Which is a little bit of a walkway. This tomato is super bushy. Everything looks like it needs to be watered. Funny thing is I watered it yesterday, so I don't know if it's just so hot that it literally needs to be watered like twice a day. This tomato here, I think this tomato is a determinate, so it's gonna bloom its head off and then it's going to be done. So I'm going to take some cutting from it and just continuously keep it growing so I can get a good supply of it. Because it doesn't look like it's getting any bigger, but look at the abundance tomatoes that are on it. So that's really spectacular. Whereas this one over here, indeterminate. So kind of hard. I always get it confused between the determinate and indeterminate. Indeterminate meaning it's going to keep on growing as long as it doesn't, break off. So it's just gonna keep on growing and climbing and keep producing until basically first frost, as long as you give it enough stuff. Couple things over here. My coneflowers are blooming in. This is the red kind. I just know it as the color red. The dogs, of course, like to eat my flowers, so I've got dead flowers laying everywhere. I am having issues with Japanese beetles, so speaking of the devil, there's one right there. You can see him right there. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, he's right there. So basically that's what they do, eat everything. This is the Rio Samba. Looking over here, this is the butterfly standard. They're doing really good. I deadhead as I go so I get more blooms, but the blooms are not as large as the first blooms. If you see what I mean, this is the original bloom right here. It's starting to fade out, and then I deadhead it so the little ones come out. But they're never as big as the first bloom, so I keep deadheading it and not letting it go to seed, so that way I can keep on getting more flowers. I have a phlox right here that survived through the winter. This one, I think I might have propagated it from this one, but this one hasn't bloomed, hasn't gotten any growth, so I'm not sure why it's stunted. But this one is pretty spectacular. Got some more coneflower over here, a different variety, a white one over here. The coneflowers pretty easy to propagate. I do it by dividing the roots, or if not dividing, I just take a little bit of cutting, make sure that it has a little bit of the roots left in it. This is everything else that is still currently in progress over here. Ooh, I saw a stick and thought it was a snake. Over here are my abutilon. They are loving it over here. They're doing great. This one, I have that one in the ground as well. Some are in pots. This is the standard limelight. It's starting to send out its flower, as you can see at the tip. See it? So can't wait to see that show. Also over here is my Midnight Marvel, one of my all-time favorite hardy hibiscus, getting ready to do its thing and show off. It's got all these wonderful buds on here, and they have not succumbed to any Japanese beetle or any kind of caterpillar eating insects, which I always have a hard time. Like literally the leaves will be stripped bare. So this year, for some reason, whatever is out here is not affecting it. So I am looking forward to the show they're going to provide for me. After it buds, flower, and the flower drop, I will deadhead it so that it will send energy into creating more, as opposed to making the seed pods. The hardy hibiscus, you can propagate very easily by cutting. So I usually use that method as opposed to saving the seed pods. And let me see, what else? I think that really much is it that's currently in bloom. I have all these standard hydrangeas over here. They are starting to bloom out. You can see here, well, bud out, not bloom out, bud out. Can you see them? So I am super excited to see the show that they're gonna create for me over here. And this is just a temporary place until I get my Zen garden in, or more permanent spot. This one over here is definitely an early bloomer. You can see it's already budding out over here, flowering out. Most everybody else is in the budding stages. Let me see, what else? Everything else is just kind of in the ground waiting its time. Over here I have my lilies. Here's one right here. It's coming out strong. I have a whole bunch of others that I divided, that I planted all along here. So I'm hoping that as it grows, it's going to create an amazing spot. Just full of lilies as they come. Look at this. Isn't she beautiful? Here's another one coming out from where I planted. The ground looks horrible. I know I got to get some mulch. But you got to make do with what you have. And I think that's going to be it for my show for today. While I wait for everything else to come up. Everything else is coming up nicely along with the weed, of course. But here's some more lilies. Calla lilies, that's what they are. You can see I planted some bulbs. See, here's some right here that's still coming in, while others are coming in really nicely. So once they all come in, I think it's going to be a really pretty show, minus having to come in here and weed eat. But yeah, everything's looking good. Another cone flower over here. Beautiful red. I can't wait to show you guys the Midnight Marvel though. She's going to be spectacular. The bee balm over here is coming to an end. I'm going to probably cut them off, and they are very easy to propagate too. Bee balms are. So definitely looking forward to doing that. Getting some more into the ground. Abutilon. Chinese lantern is looking good. I usually don't let it go to seed, so I just come over and I pop off the flower and let it drop. But they do make lots of seed pods, so if you want to propagate by seed method, you can definitely do that. All right, everybody. Oh, last thing to show you, an actual butterfly on my butterfly bush. Let's see if I can catch it before it goes away. Right there. Isn't she beautiful? Enjoying it. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a blessed day. Bye, everybody.